Well, within this body of work here, there's sort of there's a variety of images in the sense that I work from an archive of imagery which I initially took in Sri Lanka, and I'm also working from an archive of imagery from the fossilised landscape in County Leitrim. So by sort of combining both sets of images really on the one surface, and then through the process of paint and digital manipulation, the spaces change and they become more about real and imagined spaces as really anything specific to the original image really. This one is a play-off, and it's really again it's about that sort of tension between the painted and the photographic elements, and how they work off each other really, and how they have the potential to switch roles. The images in Sri Lanka, the colour played an very important role, you know, in my initial attraction. But there's also areas of sort of the landscape coming in from behind and underneath. I'm quite interested in the idea of sort of in sort of finding different ways to create sort of pictorial tensions or spatial tensions. So in this piece here is a framing device almost that sort of could suggest maybe being part of a film or sort of a moment caught sort of on camera, if you like. How I apply the colour depends on what's already there in terms of the photographic imagery, and I decide to either work with it or work against it, you know, in terms of how much paint is applied and also in how the paint is applied. With this one here, I was very much interested in just sort of somehow reduce down this photographic element so that it could merge with the paint, but somehow that it was quite transparent and still quite light. This one's called Forest, and I guess it initially had this framing device which I think I sort of culled from here and used within other pieces. And again, it was very much about looking into a space but yet sort of not being able to focus on any particular element. Adding a sort of a painted mark or a painted gesture creates a tension then for, well, does it sit sort of on top of the photographic element or does it somehow move behind? Yeah, and this one I was quite interested because there was quite a very subtle sort of blue tone happening here, which sort of seemed to me to sort of be far in the distance, and I was interested in somehow trying to pull it out a little bit, and so that's why I selected a particular kind of blue here so that it could play off this subtle blue tone here. For me, I suppose the images I'd originally taken in Sri Lanka in the Buddha's temple, they were more about a space that was continually changing, and then I suppose my interest in the landscape around County Leitrim, it's part of my own history. I've always had an interest in the idea of sort of the fossilised sort of landscape